What is up? Welcome back, welcome all. Happy Bassin to you. My name's Chad Brock. We don't know what the heck I'm doing here. My co-host over here, that is the one, the only Chip Ayers, the man that invented winter shorts. He runs tournaments so good they come from millions, maybe thousands, maybe hundreds, maybe tens of miles around just to fish his derbies. Chip, how the heck are you doing, man?
Man, Chad, we're doing great. I hope everybody out there, everybody had a good, wonderful Merry Christmas and great New Year. And hey, the best thing is the days are getting longer, and it's getting closer to time to start stretching that string and catching some bass. And so it's all good. It's all good.
And
How was
buddy,
your
it's
holiday,
getting
brother?
well. The New Year's been good to me. It's warmer. I got my winter shorts on. I can't complain right now. I can't complain. Got down to Kentucky Lake. Went and poked around down there for a couple days. Just drinking that good Dub House coffee.
There
Going
you
to
go.
Parcells.
Yeah.
Just taking in the livelihoods of around Kentucky Lake. So schmoozing with the locals, maybe buying some tackles. Really, what I was doing. My wife
Right.
had their
You can't
plans.
get down there and not hit places like outdoors, Kentucky Lake Outdoors, and some of those great places down at Fast Eddie's. You got to go there. You got to see the new stuff. So
You got to get the new
absolutely.
stuff. Get the bag was full. I left with a full bag, probably more than I needed. It was more of a stock up and more of an overstocking. I've
There
kind
you
of
go.
overstocked in a few things, but that's
There you
okay.
go.
I'm gonna lose every one of them, so it
That
doesn't matter.
that we guys like you and me are the ones that keep tackle companies in business. We just
If
got
you ain't
buy
hung up,
that
you ain't
stuff.
trying.
That's right. And have a good time. Good time trying. We a lot worse things I can spend my money on, I reckon. So it is what it
Well,
is. But
you
hey,
know,
Chad, I'm really excited about the two guys we got coming on tonight.
tell me about them, man. Tell me about them.
Well, I you know, I'm a big boat guy. I've been fishing tournaments around Indiana for a long, long time, and I think I've given a lot of money to these two cats. I'm telling you, um, when folks think of anglers, especially teams in the Midwest, they these two, Mike Quinlin and Lewis Mallory. Those aren't two that you got to take them serious when they roll in that parking lot in that early morning hours before a tournament. You got to take them serious because they've won a lot of tournaments, and I'm really excited. I got the chance, was lucky enough to spend a little bit of time with them this past weekend at one of the local shows, and I'm really excited for them to share with everybody that comes in here, watch this podcast. I'm really excited for them to share some of their stories, how they got there, how they catch those fish, how they process everything. I mean, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be. I would highly suggest a lot of these guys go back to the YouTube and watch this time and time again because you're going to get some little nuggets on this one.
And without further ado, we give you Mike Quinlan and Lewis Mallory. Gentlemen, how you doing?
We're doing good.
Doing great.
Good to see you, boys.
Good to see you guys.
So, fellers, welcome to the podcast first and foremost. But we like to start this whole podcast thing off with one big question, and that question to both of you, I'd like both of you to answer. Whoever answers first, no big deal. Just go right to the next one. But tell us a little bit about the backstory. How did you guys get to fish? How did you guys start fishing? What brought you to fishing, and what made you fall in love with the outdoors?
Um, in 1993, I worked at a sporting goods store here in Greenwood that was called Galleons. Probably a bunch of guys remember that. And
Yeah.
there was another young boy there that worked there, and his name's Brad Collier. And he asked me, he said, "You want to go fish a bass tournament?" And I had one bait caster and one spinning rod. And I said, "Yeah, I'll go." He says, "We'll use my dad's 12-foot semi V, and I got a cooler." with an aerator in it, and it's an all-nighter. It's 6 at night to 6 in the morning on Cataract Lake. And well, yeah, you know what the heck, we went and fished, and we come in. We had 3 fish for I think it was 9 pounds, and we got second place. I think we won $700-800, and I thought, my God, this is the most awesome thing. You get to go fishing, and they pay you to do it. And it wasn't very much after that. I went and bought a brand new Stratus bass boat. I was hooked. I was hooked bad. So that's how I got into it.
Well, I was fortunate enough to grow up on about a 90-acre lake, and so I bass fished all through junior high and high school. And I went into service, and when I come out of the service, I took a job and up on the south side up by the airport, and there was a gentleman that worked in there. He bass fished. So we got to talking, and he said, "Hey, have you ever fished tournaments, or have you ever been in a club?" And I said, "No." And the story goes on from there, but he's a good friend of mine to this day. His name's Chris Fisher, and he's the gentleman that got me into a club and then got me into tournament fishing.
Let me, how long, because I know we talked about this last weekend, but tell folks how long, when did Mike and Lewis first share a boat together?
Well, so in must have been 94. We fished that first tournament in 93, me and Brad, and the very next year I started looking for a club, and we found one here in Martinsville. I live in Mooresville, so it's a short drive for me, and I joined Central Indiana Bass Anglers, and it just so happens that this guy was in the club too, and it wasn't very long, maybe a year. I think 95. I asked him if he wanted to go fishing, and we went, shared a boat for half a day, and we've been fishing together ever since 90, about 95.
So over almost this will be 31 years for you guys.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Any ideas? I mean, I think I got kind of an idea. With any ideas how many tournaments have y'all won together?
We were actually talking about that, and it's hard to say how many tournaments. I think we've probably won at least in the neighborhood of 50 events. We're trying to remember just how many USA Basses. I know we're over 25, might be 30 or more. I don't know, but I remember we won some way back in the when they first got going.
It's over 30. I was able to go back and look and see it is over. You guys have over 30 USA Bassin wins alone. So
wow,
yeah, that's a testament right there.
I've kept the log since 05, and we've had a lot of small tournaments and open tournaments that I did not put in our log. So I know it's up there. I just don't know exactly what the number is. But.
Wow.
I like hearing your guys' story because I'm kind of the same. When my fishing came to me, beyond bobber fishing and just messing around, tournament fishing came to me later in life. So to hear that you guys kind of had that same path, that's really cool. You don't hear that as often as you hear, grandpa took me or dad took me. So that's really cool to hear that you guys have a very similar story. Love that.
I guess I knew that people bass fish for money from maybe a young age. I don't know when I come to the realization that people actually fish for money, but it never dawned on me that I could do it, or and I always loved to fish since I was old enough to walk. I can remember fishing with my dad and my grandpa, but yeah, until I went with my buddy Brad, and we actually did it one time, and I thought, man, this is just awesome.
I'm gonna. You kind of mentioned this earlier, and Lewis, I know you and I we've had this conversation. You guys, everybody thinks, hey, to get in bass fishing, you got to have a big 21-foot boat with that big 4-stroke new Mercury 4-stroke Pro XS on the back and be able to run 75 miles an hour. But you guys fish a lot of tournaments out of littler boats. You're not scared to get out of a 10 boat or a small glass boat, are you?
Lewis has got a 17-foot aluminum boat, no electronics. It's got one battery that runs the trolling motor and starts the big motor and runs the aerator. And that's it. It's just a basic fishing platform. And then he's got a Ranger, and he's got a unit to go on the console. I'd say 90% of the time we don't even take a graph. If we're fishing Monroe or Patoka or the river, we don't even take a graph.
Yeah, not normally, unless it's going to be foggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we fish out of the aluminum boat a lot, and it's for somebody just getting into the sport, it's a good way to just get in and get on the water.
Well, and that's what I was leading to is, a lot of folks, I get a lot of folks, and we all do. Hey, how can I get into this? And they think they got to have that brand new big boat, and they don't. Like Mike, you just said, it's a platform. It's just something to get on the water and get in there. And so so they can get started in that USA Bassin with that 17-foot aluminum boat with with one battery and no graphs and catch fish, because you guys do it every weekend and a lot of weekends out of the year. Well, what you guys have done this so long together. How do you break down processing a lake? I mean, when you roll up to the tournament, do you practice for them? Do you not practice for them? When you get to because these are the questions that I got through the week. And, when people start hearing you guys are going to be here, this is what they want to know. How does Lewis and Mike, how does Team Quinlin and Mallory break down the lake?
I'd say typically in Indiana, we don't practice unless it is an important tournament. We had a Fisher's-of-Men on Raccoon, and we hadn't fished out there I hadn't been out there for 30 years, back in the club days. And Lewis has been there a few times, but I hadn't seen the lake in many, many years. And we did go out and practice one day out there for half a day, and we had a couple bites, and the practice really did help us for the tournament. We did end up winning the tournament and won the points for the Fisher's-of-Men South Division this year. Because of that one practice day, we went out there and found some fish. But typically we don't practice. Typically we're fishing a tournament on two bodies of water on the same weekend, and we're just going from one lake to another, or river or whatever. And
but to piggyback off that, we've spent years and years practicing. So it's not, when I say that, I mean, it was important, but as we've done it for so many years, it just seems like we know if the water's at this level or if the water's this color, that's where we're going. So
right.
I got you. Now here's something that, and Mike shared this the other day, and I know Lewis, you and I have had the same conversation. You said you just going to kind of pick your brains here a minute. You said you went out to Raccoon practicing for a tournament last year, and you had a couple bites. How often do you actually catch a fish in practice? Because I think this is something that folks can get from. I'm throwing you under the bus here, Lewis. I'm going to make you.
No, it's fine.
No,
I think it's a good question. We try not to ever set the hook in practice if it's the day before. We just don't do it. If we do have the opportunity to practice for a tournament the day before, we rarely ever set the hook.
So you're going based off just what you feel like the weight of the fish is, how the water boils, if you're throwing some type of a moving bait, something along that lines.
Try pulling to the surface, maybe.
Typically, if we're fishing a jig or a pitching bait, you can pull that fish to the top.
Right.
Lewis, a lot of times if we're practicing top water and he's throwing a buzz bait, he's got a buzz bait with a bent over hook. He's good at throwing that, and you can see the fish come up and eat that and how big it is. But Yeah, I think it's pretty important, especially in Indiana, uh, not to set the hook because we just don't have a pool of a lot of fish to go off of. And if you start hooking some fish, I'll give you an example. Back in I don't know, this has been 10 or 12 years ago. We were fishing a Hoosier Open, and we did practice for this on Lake Monroe, and we're bumping along on practice day, and Lewis throwing a buzz bait, and he's got his hook covered up with a rubber worm, a hunk of rubber worm, and this fish comes up off a shallow stump, mouth is completely open, 10 feet from the boat, and eats that buzz bait. And I said, "Oh God, don't set the hook, Lewis. It's a big one." And Lewis says, I didn't really see it. How big is it?" And I said, it's a 6 pound plus. Well, we went back the next day, and I said, "Let me pitch a jig on that stump first, because if it eats it, I feel like we can get it in the boat, more assuredly on the jig." And sure enough, it was a six something. I caught it. It was 6 pounder, and that was cool. That was our second fish of the morning. Lewis had already caught a 3 pounder on a buzz bait. Lewis picks buzzbait up and throws to the next stump, catches another 6 pounder. And I never caught another fish the rest of the day. I caught the one 6 pounder. Lewis loaded the boat. I can't tell you how many times he called all on a buzzbait. And we won that day. We had 23 something that day. And
Wow.
it was one of those great days.
Yeah, it was a special day.
Well, let me ask you this then. How do you guys decide, or do you have a conversation? Let's say it's June at Monroe. Is Mike going to pick up a jig? Is Lewis going to throw a top water buzz bait, or is he going to? Who's going to do what? Everybody's got their favorite. How do you guys decide who's going to do what?
Well, it's no secret. I think anybody that really knows me knows that's probably my favorite way to catch them is on a buzz bait. Anytime that water temperature's in, the high 40s all the way till it drops back down to the 40s in the late in the year. But I love to throw buzz bait, so I throw it quite often, and Mike does a lot of the pitching.
Okay, all right. That's so you guys just kind of run with what's worked for you for what we say 31 years.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, Chad. I'm trying to pick these guys' brains because
No.
jump in there, brother. If you've got something you want to ask these two hammers.
So obviously, I mean, you guys fishing, no graphs, all the different things. As different lures and different things have come around, have you guys added some of those things? And I mean, you guys got the people out here throwing Ned rigs and fuzzy dice and who knows what else now. Are you guys bringing any of that into your staple, or are you guys just tried and true sticking with what you know?
Yeah, it's kind of funny for me because in Indiana, fishing here locally, if I don't have a jig, a buzz bait, stupid tube in my hand, 90% of the time, that's what I'm throwing. But if I go out of state, there's a way bigger variety of baits that I throw. When I get down on some of the southern impoundments, whether it be a minnow rig and your forward facing sonar, or top water, or whatever, that it just seems like when I get out of state, there's a bigger variety of baits to use than here that I'm successful with, on a regular basis. Now you can throw a minnow rig here and catch some fish, but to be able to be competitive and win, I kind of like to stick with my main gun,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that that's a testament to how hard it is here in Indiana sometimes. I mean, fishing's fishing, but Indiana is just a different beast. It's always fun to go down to a southern lake like what you're saying, and you get down there and you get that shock like that actually worked like it was supposed to on TV.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that because you fish here and you try it, but and I remember years ago, I'd have everything laid out on the deck. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try that. I read this in Bassmaster. I seen them
Oh
catch
yeah.
them on this. I can remember close to when we really got started, and I hadn't caught a fish on a jig yet. And me and a buddy of mine, Jimmy Shepard, we went to Monroe. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weekends in a row, and we're just going to take flipping sticks and then fish a jig. And I can remember that first fish that come out of that bush and flushed on that jig as it come through the branches, and it just something clicked right there, and I thought, man, that's awesome. And then I think I caught my first limit ever. I remember fishing for a couple of years in the club before I actually caught my first 5-fish limit, and I think it was on a black and blue jig.
Do you guys still fish the club together, or do you still fish that club?
No, I don't think that club's around anymore, but as I got out and started fishing more so, I think 2 years ago we fished 6 different divisions of tournaments between BFLs, Federation, Hoosier Open, Fishers of Men, USA Bass. I mean, we were fishing something,
We fished some stuff in Illinois. We've done some stuff in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
We
That's
branched out a little bit, but back to his question about baits. Why,
yeah.
Chad, we have experimented with other baits, but it seems like in Indiana we always go back to tried and true jig or buzz bait, and that's the 2 main baits that we like to throw.
When we go to the Ohio River, we fish a little different, obviously.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's a little bit different game there. You're typically fishing for a little bit smaller fish, so you probably downsize a little bit. I throw an 1/8 ounce Timmy Poe spinner bait. I got a bunch of Timmy Poes that are 20 years old. Keep fixing the skirts on them and keep throwing them. And we fished the Fishers of Men regional there this fall, and we had a really good day. Day 1, we were leading it, and on day 2, I lost one that cost us winning that regional event. But the river is a little bit different scenario. Still a lot of flipping and pitching and stuff like that, but we change up the baits just a little.
Spinner bait a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's being a tournament director. We get to see a lot of the anglers from all over. Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan, all over. And it's funny that when even guys that they may not even know what you two look like, but they know who Quinlin and Mallory are, and you always see them. Yeah, we see Quinlin and Mallory's boat 17 in this tournament, and they have no idea who it is, and so yeah, it's kind of interesting, it's kind of entertaining at times to see when you roll in that people are. I hear your names from Ohio, Illinois, Tennessee, all over. That your reputation does precede you, gentlemen. It certainly does. So, let's say it's a tough day. I mean, it's an Indiana July day, and it's hot, and you just ain't catching them. What's Lewis and what's Mike going to have tied on at 10:30 in the morning when it's getting tough and they need a bite? Where are you going? What are you going to do?
Well, it's probably I think this big misconception is when it gets hot and the water gets hot, people think that all the fish go deep, and we probably stay shallow 90% of the time. I'm not saying we don't go out and fish deep sometimes. Sometimes you have to, but one thing is that the oxygen content in that shallow water is usually higher, even though it's hot. And your bluegills, your crawfish, they infest that shallow water. And when they're pitching a big jig or throwing that buzz bait, those fish are up there to eat, and that's what we try to capitalize on are those shallow fish.
Yeah, I think when it gets real tough, though, I like to throw Cinco, because I think that Cinco gets some bites that when it's really, really tough. So when it gets to that where we're not getting very many bites, I'll throw that. And of course, for Indiana, the stupid tube thing is it always comes into play also. So when it's super tough.
Okay, let's go to that Cinco, because we've had two or three guests on here to always mention the Cinco. Is it weightless? Is it wacky rig? Is it just Texas rig with a little bit of weight? What's the secret on the tough day? You got to give it up.
Chip needs details. He's trying to catch more fish.
I'm taking notes, boys.
Yeah, that's great. I'd really like to throw it wacky style, weightless, yes.
Okay.
And just really let it do its thing.
But you know what? That's the kind of stuff that guys love to hear. We appreciate you being honest, because that's what guys love to hear. That's why they're tuning in to listen to Lewis and Mike tonight, is to get that juice. So I
want to get brand specific here while we're on this topic. So brand specific on the Cinco. What's your brand? Are you a Yamamoto crew, or do you like the Bass Pro Shops tournament series?
Well, I used to like to throw the actual Gary Yamamoto Cinco, and I still have some of them that and every once in a while I do, but I've been throwing the Ocho.
Okay.
And I really like that Ocho. I've been throwing it about 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, and it's really a great bait. I really like it. So it's got us some key bites and in some tournaments. So
you can't. I don't know if they can see those comments starting to pop up that people are like,
we're getting
quiet.
shushed.
You're talking too much, and now you are giving up the juice.
Yeah.
Well, there's no secrets in this, so we all know that. I mean, just different ideas.
There's not too many hidden spots left around this state with all of us fishing. Wouldn't you guys agree?
When we first started going to Monroe, there was a lot of standing timber, and now there's only maybe 2 or 3 trees on the entire lake that are still protruding out of the water. They're gone, and a lot of the stumps are still there, but they're completely covered with mud now. And Monroe is really getting pretty barren as far as what it used to be. I mean, there used to be thousands of standing timber there. And I remember when it was the whole slow side was covered with lily pads, the entire thing.
Yeah.
And of course, they're gone now too. But the fishing at Monroe and Patoka has really changed in the last 10 years. Just so much siltation. Patoka's lost its grass for the most part, and really changed the way it fishes there too.
That's become quite a smallmouth factory at Patoka. Are you guys seeing where you'd like that change, or you would take the grass back?
I prefer to catch the green fish.
The green ones.
I don't mind catching a big brown one every now and then, but I prefer to catch the largemouth if I can.
Well, now here's a question. There's a lot of guys, Chad. I'm gonna kind of go off the beaten path here for a minute, but that there's a lot of guys that know Lewis and Mike. They don't particularly care for hotels and motels on the road. They've got both you guys still have your vans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many miles and how many nights do you reckon you two have spent in that van traveling up and down the road together?
Oh man,
that's a good question.
We've made some trips to Louisiana, fishing the Red River a couple different times, and we've been all around. A bunch to Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee. We've been everywhere.
I couldn't even put a number on it, Chip. It's a lot of nights in that van, I tell you.
But I mean, we got them set up with really nice gel mattresses and
there is nice as any Holiday Inn. I've looked at you. Lewis has showed me around. It's just, I mean, except for the room service, the next that to bring you supper at night. They're pretty. I mean, you've even got an air conditioner in there that you guys hook up. So well, that brings me to this question. You guys been doing this 30 years together. And I think we had this conversation the other day that there are marriages that stay together a lot longer than tournament partners. You know what I'm saying? It's like you'll see a couple good friends, they'll be together for a couple years, and then how does Lewis and Mike, how do you what is the secret for you guys staying together? I know you're good best of friends. I know how, but what has been the secret for that 30 years of staying together?
I can tell you one thing for certain. It's got a lot to do with our wives. Because both of our wives are very understanding, and I hate to use the word allow, but they allow us to spend as much time as we want on the water. If I'm ready to go fishing, Lewis is always ready to go. And, and that's a lot, a lot of fishing is, if your partner can't go, then you got to try to find somebody else. And then you do start fishing with somebody. Lewis has always been ready to go. Or I've been ready to go with him, one way or the other. But our wives are very understanding, and they allow us to go. It might be because we bring some checks home, and
that always helps. That always helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot. But
there you go. There you go.
It's Lewis just flat catches them. Why would I want anybody else?
All right, I can't argue that. I mean,
pretty kind words coming from a man that's done as much as he has in the state of Indiana and beyond. I'm really fortunate to have him as a partner, and really enjoy every time that we fish together. It's always a good.
I'd like to say something. Everybody looks and says, "Oh, we've had so much success and we won a lot of tournaments," and we have. But I think the average person has no idea how many days on the water, how many hours we have spent, how many bad tournaments we've had. We've had tournaments where that we don't catch anything, and nobody remembers those days. But we've been very fortunate to. One time we had a bad tournament. I think it was on bogs. Terrible. Didn't catch them. And Lewis said, "What are you going to do tomorrow?" I said, "I'm going right back. I'm going back down there." And I talked him into going with me. And I think we won the next day. We just went and done something different, and we caught them. So it's important to have somebody that you can fish with, you can trust. I don't have to ever worry about Lewis, spilling the beans on what I'm doing or where we're catching them at. I know that I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Another thing I think that really comes into place, we have ate, breathed, slept fishing, and we both have a love for it. I know a lot of guys do, but I think we've took it a little over the top a few times over the years, and it's really been a good run. And I look back on it, and as we're getting older, I wouldn't have had it any other way. It's been a great time.
I will tell you guys this, and for the folks at home, I've had the opportunity to be around these guys for a long time. These two are, and Chad, I will tell you that these two are actually they are students of bass fishing. They are students of the sport, but more so that these guys, they respect everything going way back. I mean, back to the guys, the Mel Belts, and going back to that, they've been around and they've done it the right way. And I'm not saying that to blow smoke up anybody's tail. It's just, one thing that a lot of the kids that are, I say kids, these are younger guys out there that are watching this. You want to emulate somebody out there. Here's the two guys right there that you can do that with, because you guys have done it the right way. You've never hear any conflicts on the water with you. Never. If you caught them, you caught them, and there's no doubt about it. And I take my hat off to you guys for that, because you've done it right. You've done it the right way.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think that in all the years that I've been fishing. I can't really remember ever having a confrontation with anybody on the water. We pretty well try to stay away from everybody uh, as much as possible. Try to give everybody their space. And
Yep.
I Now we've had a couple dock owners holler at us, but just because they didn't want somebody fishing by their dock. But
I think Chad had that experience not over the summer. I think he and I we were sharing a beverage down at Kentucky Lake, and he was telling me about that same kind of experience he had.
I have all kinds of experiences at Kentucky Lake, but that's a different story. But while we're on this topic, Chip, and we're kind of in the mushy phases of this conversation, I think it's time for a little USA BASSIN team dating show.
I'm ready for it. Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to lead this off. So we're going to give you guys a series of 5, 6, 7 questions, however many we can come up with here on the fly. You guys answer it, and we'll see where it goes. And the audience, if you guys got anything that you want to ask them, grill them about, let us know. It's questions about each of them. So to start off with, on the dating show here, who snores loudest?
That
Definitely him, because I don't snore.
so
you lie.
is it wearing earplugs snoring, or is it just like the pillow over the head? How is it?
His pillow over the head.
All right.
I've never heard myself snore, so I don't believe it.
You have no evidence of it. You don't believe a thing, do you?
That's right.
There you go.
Gary
Okay.
McClure wants to know who was the best co-angler ever.
The best co-angler that's fished with me.
He says, ask them who was their best co-angler ever.
Who is it, Gary?
Gary McClure.
Yeah, he fished with me. It's been a lot of years ago, and I think I set the hook on a big one right off the bat, and he got it in the net before I could get it to the boat. He'd already had the net stretched out there and got it in there. And yeah, I remember that. So Gary's a good guy.
All right.
There's two people that come to mind for me. One is Bud Fox. You guys probably know Bud.
I know Bud.
He fished with me in a Federation. I think he fished with me several times, but he fished with me in a Federation Classic at Monroe for a brand new boat. Both boater and co-angler were fishing for their own boat. And he caught enough on the first day to win the boat. And on the second day, he caught 1 3-pounder. He didn't need it, but there was this one bush laying in the water, and I threw by it 3 times with a buzzbait and nothing. And I done passed it up, and he throws a little B2 high rider through there and catches a 3-pounder. It's the one I needed, because I finished second for boat, and he finished first and won the boat. But I felt real good because we were on some pretty good fish at that tournament. And then there's another old boy out of Ohio, and I cannot remember the guy's name, but he thoroughly thumped me out of the back of my boat. I think I finished the day with 3 little bitty fish, and he won a super tournament BFL out of Tanner's with the fish he caught in one day out of the back of my boat.
Wow.
All right, Chip, what you got?
All right. It's first thing in the morning. You're headed to the boat ramp. Is it an energy drink or is it coffee? And if you stop someplace, are you getting something to eat? And if so, what is it, Mike? What, coffee or an energy drink?
Iced coffee and sausage egg biscuit.
All right, Lewis.
If we're going to Fast Eddie's, what is it?
Oh, it's definitely bacon and egg, but a bacon and egg sandwich. But for years I just drink like a Coke or something in the morning. But the last probably 4 years, I'll drink like one of them coffee drinks or something. Kind of juice me up a little bit. I don't have the energy in the morning like I did, say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, as my age is creeping up on me. So, but I'll drink a coffee drink.
I think all four of us here are grandpas. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from there, brother. I understand where you're coming from there.
Now, here's my next one. Worst roadside truck stop experience to date.
Hardware supplies.
They've got a story.
Oh my God. We were going to Wawasee. No, it was Mississippi.
No, it was Wawasee.
Was it Wawasee? We stopped up there at it was a Subway / gas station at right off the highway up there. And there was a man and woman in there, a young woman and an older man. And we walked in and there's nobody around, and they both popped up from behind the counter. And it kind of caught us off guard, I don't know what they were doing, but it's 4:00 in the morning, and I asked him, can we get a sandwich made? We didn't have any lunch. We needed something to eat for lunch. And she started talking about going and getting some hardware supplies, and we're just looking at each other. We just turned around and walked back out the door. I don't know what they were doing, but
I think she was under the influence of something.
Yeah, it was a weird situation, but
we've had a few of those.
Yeah, we've always talked about that. We remember that that's been 25 years ago.
Well, all right, because my next question was going to be a weird boat ramp story. What that dark 30, you pull into the boat ramp, and you know how it is, if you're the only one there, or some deserted boat ramp. You ever had that deal go on? Give us a weird, strange, or funny boat ramp story.
I pulled into Morse Creek boat ramp one night. It was probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock. But I turned and went like I was going to go down the ramp, and I was shining my lights on the water, and there was 3 young ladies down there having a little dip.
See that? There you
and
go.
That was really a good way to start the morning. So.
That you and you didn't even have to hang around there for a while, and just
I just sit there and enjoyed the view.
It just retied and make sure you had everything going, and had that iced coffee ready to go, huh?
Yeah, they were of the college age.
I can understand that, especially at Monroe.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you pull in at I don't know. You pull in over at Cloverport at 4 o'clock in the morning and see that may not be something you want to see.
No, that probably would not.
They're different demographics right there. Nothing against them. I love them Kentucky people, but yeah, it can be a whole different what you see going on at some ramp down on the river may be totally different than what you see in Bloomington. So,
this will be our last dating show type question. The day is tough. You guys are out there struggling. Who's getting mad first?
No, me. Me. Yeah.
Lewis rolled his eyes over there. Wait a minute.
Rolled his eyes.
He says it's him, but it's a lot of time it's me too. I get frustrated pretty easy towards the end of the day.
We fished a tournament one time at Rocky Point. It was one of the God Lovets, and I broke 3 or 4 fish off right in a row. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I'd never done that again. I slammed my rod down. I was mad.
Sit down.
I sat down for a little bit. It was a tough day at the river, and undoubtedly we had to fish to win. If I could have just put the fish in the boat, but it was one of them things. I just had some bad line, and it just didn't work out.
Now we do have a few audience questions popping in here, Chip. Let's get to those.
Jump
that's the end of the show.
Brian Crossan, how would you adjust to a lake post front?
Uh, how would you fish?
Well, just depends on what time of year, but on the post front, obviously the fish are a little bit funny acting, so we would definitely slow down and fish it. Try to really, if we think we're fishing slow, we'll try to slow down even more just to get that bite.
I don't think the fish ever really go very far. Even post front, they're still there. They're still close. They're either going to pull tighter to cover. They get a little harder to catch. So it's all about bait presentation and getting your bait in front of the fish. And I've had so many times when I flip a jig in there and I'm shaking it on a root wad of a tree, and I feel that fish. I can feel that fish rub that jig. He don't like that jig in front of his face. You put it in there 2 or 3 times in front of him, and he'll finally eat it. And probably a lot of people think he can't feel that fish. Yeah, I can. And they'll nip at it, they'll push it. Lewis has heard me. There's a fish in there. I can feel him, and
That's a good question though, because post front conditions are some of the toughest that we fish.
sure. If it's a good day, it's falling barometer or whatever, the fish are really biting. You pitch in there with whatever, and the fish eats it immediately, and that's the perfect scenario. And if it's not the perfect scenario and it's a tough bite, you got to pitch it in there and show that bait to that fish multiple times, different angles, and it's just we fish harder. If it's a tough day, we just fish harder. We don't change what we do a whole lot. We just fish harder.
We may make 10 casts to one piece of wood instead of just making 2 casts.
Yep.
It's just slow way down and fish more methodically, I guess.
Okay.
All right. Next question. Let's see here. Fritz, you can't see that. Filters. When you guys are having one of those.
That's Chris Phelps up there at Geist.
Okay. When you guys are having one of those days and nothing is going right, what do you do to reset your fishing game?
Sit down and eat a sandwich.
You
I
eat a
like that advice.
sandwich. We might change areas. Not necessarily change the way we're fishing, but just change our scenery for a little while. But more often than not, we'll go back to where we started. And a lot of times that pays off.
That's a good question from Chris. That really was. That was a good question.
Yeah.
Randy Brumfield. If you could only fish one lake for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
I know what he's going to say. He likes chick.
I like chick. I like Chickamauga, so I would say Lake Chickamauga, Tennessee.
Fishing the NPFL the last couple of years, I have seen some of the best bodies of water, and I'd always read about the St. Lawrence River, and it's rated #1. And I know why it's rated #1 now. If you've watched any of my videos on Facebook from up there this past year, it's just incredible. They told me you got to have 20 plus pounds a day if you want to try to get a check, if you're in the check line. 20 pounds a day average. And I kept thinking, that's probably an exaggeration. It's not. It's not an exaggeration at all. It's just a neat place. There's so many fish and a lot of different ways to catch fish up there. But you know what? That's probably not. If I could only fish one place, even though that's the best place, either Chick or I really like Santee Cooper really well.
Okay.
Got one more here, fellers. Chase Hall. What has been your biggest win? What has been the biggest win of your career? Careers.
For me, there's a couple, but we had a win at Lake Chickamauga in a regional tournament that is a real special one for me. Then I had one early on in my career at Lake Monroe with a friend of mine. It actually wasn't me and Mike, but we won a new Stratus boat, and that was one that sticks out to me also. So
Man, I've had a lot of good days, and that regional we won at Chick, the Fishers of Men, that was a cool deal because Lewis catches an 8-pounder on a stupid tube under a dock, and that sealed deal. We got big bass, got first place.
I'd been throwing a jig all day, and Mike said you probably ought to switch over.
Yeah, the bite had slowed down we were fishing some docks, and we were fishing some really nice big docks, big platforms, and there was a little bitty skinny pier sticking out, and he skipped that stupid tube under it, and when he set the hook, the fish come running out, and we seen it flash in the water, big white side. He said it's a drum.
I thought it was a big drum.
And when it come up beside the boat, I scooped it up in the net and threw it down in the bottom, and we just both sat there for a few seconds looking at it. We couldn't even talk. It was, it was so big. But that was a cool win. We won the regional Fishers and Men at Lake Clinton. And what really makes a win neat is when you're really on them. And we had a little causeway. We were throwing he was throwing a crankbait and I was throwing a spinnerbait. And in about 20 minutes, we had 16, 17 pounds in the boat, which was probably both days. We went to this causeway and just caught them like real quick, and probably had enough right there both days to win. But we went and started flipping jig on wood, and pretty well we culled a bunch of them fish out both days. And we were just so in tune on that tournament. That's what makes that special. But now I've had, my third place at Eufaula this year in NPFL I got beat by Swindle and Chad Marler. If you're going to get beat by a couple guys, I felt like I won that tournament, even though I was a little bit short. But my gosh, I had a career of so many days. The first BFL I ever won in 2001, I didn't think I had any chance at Rocky Point, and I pulled into Lick Creek, and there was 14 boats in there, and Lick's a little bitty creek, and I'm like, what? I got no place else to go, so I just dropped trolling motor and start fishing, and I catch 12 pounds by the end of the day. And it was. I get to the weigh-in, and Billy McDonald walks up to me and says, "What you got?" I said, "I think I got about 12 pounds." And he says, "Well, you got it one." I said, "Oh, there's no way." He goes, "No, I think you got it one. Like Marty Siska's got like 10, half 11 pounds, and if you got 12, I said, "Oh, somebody else will weigh in." He says, "Man, look around. There ain't nobody else left to weigh in." He said, "That's it." And he was right. I weighed in like 12-1 or something like that, and won. And that really hooked me. That was my first really big win. And my season that year went way down. I don't think I drew a check the rest of the year. I fished the Federation and the Hoosier BFLs. Didn't get another check until the very last tournament at Lake Monroe, and I won a Indiana Bass Federation Invitational, the last go around of the year, and that was a really special year. That hooked me, and been going ever since.
Well, I got something I know, and first off, you guys talking about the spinnerbait. You guys know Brett from Accent. He's giving thumbs up. He's loving that. He's making comments down here. He's loving all the spinnerbait talk tonight. So I got to give a shout out to Brett down there at Gunnersville. But I know, Mike, you share a couple sponsors with USA BASSIN, Miller Tech batteries, and obviously Mercury outboards. But I think you've started something new with your rod company. Go ahead and give it some love tonight, man.
I tell you what, about 3 years ago, I had a rod that I really liked for a stupid tube, and it was a 7.3 medium heavy, and they quit making it. And I had two of them. I broke one, and I was afraid I was going to break the other one, and I wouldn't be able to find what I wanted. So I investigated on getting some rods built for a stupid tube. I just wanted, 2-3 rods like I liked, and the company said, "Yeah, we can build them for you, no problem, but you have to take 50." And I said, "What am I going to do with 50 rods?" Oh, well, maybe I could sell some to my buddies. Well, next thing I thought, well, if I'm going to have one rod, I might as well have a whole arsenal of my rods. So I ended up having 300 rods built right off the get-go. And I thought, I will never sell these rods. I'll be sitting on these rods the rest of my life. Well, in a month, I had to reorder. It went over really well. And this is my stupid tube rod right here. It's an 873, 7.3 medium heavy. The very first night I got the prototype, Lewis and I went to Monroe and fished a Wednesday night jackpot. Brandon Barrett was running.
Yeah.
And we pull up on a little grass patch, and I pitch a stupid tube in there and catch a 4-pounder. First fish I catch on my new rod. So it's been an awesome deal. We've been in business 3 years now selling my bird dog rods, and we've expanded now to sunglasses, and we got some popping frogs, and we're doing good. And we had a good show this last weekend, and it's something special when you have something like a rod or a bait that's yours, and then you go out and fish, and then you actually win a tournament on it. It's just a special feeling that hey, that's mine, or I got a lot of people that say, "Hey man, I love your rod. I won a tournament on it this week," or whatever. It's a neat deal when people come up and give me some love for making a good product. And I just wanted to make a rod that I was proud of, that I would fish with, and that was a moderately priced rod that wouldn't break the bank.
Now, you're going to be at a show this weekend where folks can come and see, they'll put their hands on there. Where are you going to be that? Lewis, you going to be down there with him, or?
I will be on Saturday. Down Lawrenceburg.
Lawrenceburg, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Tri-County Fishing Show. Yep. We'll be there.
Okay. I was going to say, you're going to be down there at Lawrenceburg at the convention center this coming Saturday and Sunday down there at the convention center, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then at the end of the month, we've got the National Fishing Expo in Columbus, Ohio, and that's my sponsor.
Right.
That's the guy that puts me out there, David Hoheisel, and has me fishing the NPFL. Them and Miller Tech batteries. If you want to come see a really neat fishing show, they pull out all the stops over there at the National Fishing Expo. We really have a good time. It's a 3-day show, and that's in Columbus, Ohio.
I would say that's in Columbus, isn't it?
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
So, yep. And I want to give a shout out to Miller Tech batteries. A couple of years ago, when I got sponsored and went out on the NPFL, was the first time I started really running lithium batteries. And when they sent me the batteries and I picked them up, I thought, how can these batteries be any good? They're so light. I pick up one 36-volt trolling motor battery. It's equal to 3 batteries, and it's unbelievable because I can run days and days on this one battery. It's unbelievable. I cannot believe the difference in the lithium battery technology. It's really neat. Just from a use standpoint, at any time I can pull up my Bluetooth app on my phone. It tells me exactly what my batteries are running as far as voltage and how much power I've got left. At the end of the day, typically I've got in the high 80s or low 90s% of my battery life left. I could run a week, no problem, every day.
And that's we hear that so much with there's a lot of great battery companies out there, but that Miller Tech, that we partnered with them a year or so ago, and I say USA BASSIN has, and it's just all the great stories coming in from guys getting them. I know they can go through you, and if folks are interested in it, they get with USA BASSIN. There's a code. There's your 10% code there. They can get with you, get a code. So
I've got a code. Anybody can hit me up on Facebook. I'll give them the code, It gives them 10% off. They've also got some bundle deals where you get a battery or two and a charger for a special price, and you can still use my code on it and get that deal on those batteries. But I can tell you this: they'll be the last batteries you probably ever own. They've got a 10-year. They're not prorated warranty on them, and I've never had a battery go bad. I mean, they're great batteries. You'll probably never have to buy another set of batteries.
That's a heck of a testimony right there. That's a heck of a testimony. So, well, I know we've been at this now for over an hour, and I promised you guys I wouldn't keep you here all night long. I know I could, but I'm not going to do that. Chad, anything?
So the way we typically end this podcast, just thank those that you guys need to thank, any sponsorships, any different things that you guys have got going on, and obviously tell people where to find out more about you on social media or Bird Dog on social.
Well, I'd just like to thank, it's been a long journey the last, 25, 30 years, and we've really enjoyed all the tournaments of fishing, but we haven't, without the help of like Jason and Michelle and Jimmy and all the Honey Creek crew, they keep us running, they keep our boats going, and they take care of us. And I'd like to give them a shout out. It's, as we all know, it's always good to have somebody that you can pull in and they can take care of you. So we're fortunate to have that. And of course, Paul with Bass Boat Saver, he always takes care of us also. Just want to throw that out there. And
yep, I would. Man, I got a lot of sponsors that I'd like to thank. Bass Boat Saver, Hog Snatcher Baits. Scott makes a really great bait. I use his baits a lot. I got to thank Miller Tech Batteries. Big reason why I'm out fishing the NPFL, a pro circuit right now. National Fishing Expos. David Hoy, that's a whole nother story for another day, but I got a heck of a story about him and how we met and reconnected. He ended up sponsoring me. But Gamma Fishing Line, Big Joshy Swim Baits. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but and Bird Dog Rods and Bird Dog Sunglasses. That's who keeps us out there, keeps us fishing, and hopefully, God willing, we'll be out there fishing a few more years. I'm 55 now, and Lewis is 56, so I don't know how many more years we got in us. But
I'm 36.
36.
36
I
and
wish.
holding.
I hope,
36 and holding.
I definitely don't feel like I did 10 years ago, and for sure not 20 years ago. But I still got enough fire I can fish all day, every day. I go to work, I get tired, and I got to come home take a nap. But I get on that boat, and I can fish daylight to dark every day. And as long as I can keep that enthusiasm, I'm going to keep fishing.
It's been a good run, and I've met a lot of really good people, some interesting people, and made some really good friendships. So I couldn't ask for a better hobby.
There you guys go. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Thank you very much for your time. And if you guys will hang out here for just a second, Chip and I will close this thing out, and we'll be right back with you.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks.
Wow. Chad, I mean, you're not going to find two more guys that have caught more fish and cashed more checks than those two.
No, absolutely a great podcast. I think good to see the audience out there chiming in. As always, you guys are great, and it brightens me and Chip's day up when we see you guys out there enjoying this thing as much as we are. And it's been fun thus far to see it, watch it grow, and to have two gentlemen like these two on, and it just, man, it speaks paramount. It's fun. It's a good time in USA BASSIN, and it's fun to be watching it grow.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to give a shout out to those guys. Chris Averill, I hope you didn't get stopped by a train on your way home.
You can
Mike
just call him
Foster, I saw,
Star.
yeah, I did. Mike, I'm sure he was whacking on him over it. He said he was whacking on him over there in Illinois, and Brett and Dakota and all the great people out there. We appreciate you tuning in every week. Stick with us. We got more great shows coming. Got some really good guests lining up, and so I'm excited. I'm ready for the next show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it myself, and we hope to see you guys back here in a couple weeks on a Wednesday. And yeah, more bassing, more casting. Let's go.
We'll see you then.
Thanks for watching, guys.